NXT. What the fuck was that? That's not the title, of course. You see the title already. I got it already done. It's already done for when I rendered the video. But what was that at the end? That made no damn sense. But if you look over the rest of the show, the rest of this episode of NXT, it was not bad at all. It wasn't. Now, as you guys know, I'm making it very clear. You know 100% this show does not seem to be the same. It's just not. HBK has been given an order to do certain things, and he's doing it. Working with TNA and working with the main roster, setting things up, particularly, as you guys already know, AAA, which the debunk AAA doesn't exist anymore. There's no real AAA. It's just a satellite company called AAA. It's not a wrestling promotion. They're going to be sending people to NXT soon. It's going to get flooded with luchadores and luchadores, if I'm pronouncing the female version properly. You will be seeing them sooner or later. They will be coming. And the kicker here is that HBK's booking has changed. Now, I know some people really like it. Some people can tell it doesn't seem to be right. I'm in between. I can see it's been changed. It is off. Is it a bad off? Some days, yes. Other days, no. And to be honest, right now, this was one of those days. It was off. And the ending made no damn sense that they should have just left it as it was. I don't know why it happened the way it is. But let's start. Let's go to the first match, which was the North American Championship. You got Shawn Legacy versus Ethan Page. That match was brutal. I think somebody wanted to teach somebody a damn lesson in real life. Because the way you saw Shawn Legacy get his ass handed to him left, right, and center. And let's make it very clear. Let's make it clear. Ethan is doing good work as a heel. He's always better as a heel than he was as a face. He's a great heel. And the way he brutalized his kid, it was lovely. He looked like he got his back broke, because if you guys seen the episode and see part of that match where they were both on the top turn rope, Ethan grabbed him like he's holding him as a little kid, lifts him up, and literally throws him down onto the bar that holds the strut or bar that holds the ring rope and the turnbuckle on. And you saw his back arch like, what? And I know everybody said, oh my gosh, he's literally broken in half. Because the way his back arched, there's no way Legacy wasn't going to feel that later. That one had to hurt. I don't care who you are. Once your back gets arched that far back a little bit, you feel it. And that was just so ugly. It looked great. Now here's where it gets interesting. After the match was over, because of course Ethan was going to win. Because it wasn't a bad match. You get a Ricky Saints showing up with a patch on his throat. Supposedly he's still got the bruises there. And he starts beating down on Ethan. They fight to the back. Later, you see him with Ava, and Ava says, what are you doing here? You are in no condition to be here. You can't even talk. Look, I will deal with Ethan. Go home. You are not cleared to be here. And he wanted to speak. He couldn't speak. He is out until they're ready to bring him back. Now, is this good to see? Yes, because as I've stated multiple times, they rushed Ricky Saints. I wasn't fond of him being North American champion. I don't care if anybody liked the booking. I did not. Because the booking showed they wanted to rush him into a championship. Simple as that. They could have done the same story with Ethan Page because of their interaction in AEW. They could have stemmed off of that. And the only thing they had to say was they were in one promotion together and they never got along. You could have made the story of that. And as much as they don't want to really indicate that AEW exists, you could still do it. And I'm just like, they didn't need to do that. But here, at least they are giving them a long-term feud for a little while longer before either Ethan's going to the main roster or Ricky's going to the main roster. If you're going to be honest, if they're going to do it right, they'll send Ethan first before Ricky. But there's just me, guys, sitting below. Next, the Culling versus Biggs and Iramura. Now, he came back for Briggs. Briggs was happy to see him. And now they're back together. So they have this match against the Culling. And now, let's make it very clear before the match. And it was a good match. And you already know who won. It was the Culling who won. And Briggs just exploded with frustration because they lost. Iramura came back. And he's so mad at himself that he didn't get it done. And his partner is telling him, calm down. We'll get it done. But seeing that there's a possibility that Izzy Dane may become the leader of the Culling, because it looks like Sean Spears is kind of backing away and letting her dictate what she sees, because she saw that Jensen really didn't care about the Culling. He didn't feel the Culling, so she got rid of him. Now, mind you, I think Jensen he's gone from the company. I could be wrong. Because there was no way he could just get nailed that hard with a chair from Izzy Dane. She didn't hit him hard enough, and she didn't do it more than just once. So, he's gone. There's a possibility he's not with the company right now, because I don't see them booking him something different. The Culling was the only booking left he had. So, you don't know. But it looks like she's going to be a driving force of the Culling going forward. I don't know, seeing her as the seer of the Culling means it's going to be better for the Culling. But it's still early days. Let's see what happens. Next match, Lash Legends versus Ren Sinclair, because of the interaction in the back where you see let me give it to you like this. You guys know I like Saruka. Yes, I know the real woman is married. But you can still say she's damn cute. And even though her boobs are small, she's like this, with a little bit of this, and very little of that. She's still damn beautiful. She is. Next to Azaria. She's gorgeous, and she's showing a lot of titty. So, if you guys like that kind of stuff, there you go. And they were showing up the drama that's in the locker room. Was it great? No, it's more for Instagram. It's really just to set something up. And instead of booking it where you could say that Kiani Jordan's just getting angrier and angrier, and then she messes with Lash, and then they mess again, and then Lash finally says, you know, girl, you got on my damn nerves. I'm going to take your teeth out of your face. That would have made more better booking. At least a couple of weeks of build-up. No, they just did it on Instagram. It's actually lazy booking, for me personally. Yeah, I did get a nice pair of tits out of it when it came to Saruka showing, even if they're not big. But if you're going to look at this objectively, this was just a quick match to start a feud between the two, instead of actually doing a more long-term feud like HBK would normally do. But I think HBK can't do that because, again, HBK is not booking like he normally is. I never say HBK has done great booking. He's done one-on-one booking where he just gives us the basic stuff and allows the wrestlers to build on top of it. That's how he works, but in this situation, we ain't getting it. The match itself was alright, and we had Ren looking okay. Then we have Lash destroying her, and then we got Kiani Jordan, who was outside watching on commentary. And then asking for a chair. Well, technically, Vic was asking for a chair for Kiani, so there you go. It's okay build-up, but it is rushed, and it isn't long-term booking. It's just short-term, and I don't really like it. Moving on. Let's go to Reed versus JC James. Due to the fact of getting smacked in the face twice in the back with Ava. What is her name? Lani Reed, I believe her name is. I have to get used to her and now remember her name. My thoughts are, what happened to my girl? What happened to the Keela Lions? Why aren't they doing anything with her? Is she going to be released now? If she's going to be released, I hope she goes to TNA because maybe she'll have something there. She's very unique, and yes, I know you're going to say, dude, the only reason you want her in TNA because you want to see that T and that A. No, okay? When it comes to Lion, she can actually wrestle. She can wrestle. And she's got a good personality. Yes, she got great tits and ass. That's true. She has a great, beautiful face. But if you see the work she's done when she was there, as a face, she wasn't that good. But as a heel, she's much more better. She's more flairful. Is she sloppy while doing it? Yes. She is sloppy whenever she was on TV. And when she did it, it wasn't perfect. And when she went over to TNA and had that match there, it was okay-ish. But it's still obvious she was a little sloppy. But due to the fact that she had been gone for a while because I think an ACL injury, finally came back to just gave her something, and she barely had anything to do except fight Rizzo. How much time did she have to really develop it? Because that's what we got. The last time I think I saw her was like 3 weeks ago. She was in the back, or 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I saw her in the back, put a hand on her hip, showing her boobs and how sexy she was. And that's what we got. I'm just saying. Next. Let's go with, did you buy this? Now, that's not the title of this video, but I'm asking you guys. Did you buy how this booking was? Crucifino and Tony D versus the High Rise. Wesley's boys. I don't remember the names because we don't see them often. I think one of his name is Tyson. The other one I never remember. It's not because I hate them. It's because they don't feel important. They just don't. They don't feel important. To be honest, love Wesley. Desmond Xavier, that's my boy. I don't care what you ever say about Desmond. If you don't like Desmond, fine. But Desmond Xavier was a great wrestler in TNA, Impact Wrestling. And whenever he could show that he can actually have a range, he was interesting. As Wesley, until he turned heel, even though when his back got messed up, he was good. But when he turned heel, boy, he became very good when it comes to his promos, his attitude, all that mess. He's not perfect. He has his moments where he just looks stupid. But I tell you, Wesley, I love the boy. But I'm telling you right now, the High Rise feels nothing when it comes to Wesley. And that's not because he's not trying. It's just that they don't have much to work with. Now, if Biggie Langston had the High Rise and you put them on the main roster with him as their manager to go up against New Day, that I could get behind. Because that's what I've been saying all this time. Biggie needs his own tag team and to be a manager. He can't wrestle until he's cleared. Then let some other guys wrestle for him. Two big guys as big as him. He could train them. Of course, he can't do no heavy weights unless he can now. And you could show recordings of him teaching them everything the New Day had developed together as a group. That's what I wish would be for that. Now, why did I do all this about the High Rise and talk about Crucifino and talk about Tony D? Here's the thing. I did not know how I feel about that. When you see the phone, yeah, it's time. I'm going to get it done. You think Stacks is going to show up. And he did near the end of the match. He jumps into the ring with a crowbar, runs from the Don. The Don gets screwed, and he eats the pin, not Crucifino. But before then, Crucifino and him did not communicate much because the Don did not trust him. And then when Crucifino was behind him with the crowbar, and he looks at Crucifino and he says, "What are you doing? I knew it." Then you get this. And here's the thing that got me, and I'm not feeling this, at least this segment. Once the Don lost, once Crucifino was outside with the damn crowbar, why was Stacks still there? Stacks should have left, and the Don should be trying to get his grubby little hands on him, and Stacks is looking at him, and he should have just left. He should have not stayed there. This is off. This is one of the things I feel was off in this episode. If you're in a feud with somebody, either you're going to beat the shit out of them, once they lost the match, or you're going to leave because you proved your point. Him and Crucifino should have been arguing between each other. Stacks should have not stayed there. He should have walked away, looked at Crucifino with that in his hand, and then goes to the Don and then walks away, and then the Don is not looking at Stacks. He's looking at Crucifino first because he doesn't know that's his new soldier. Remember, the underboss wants his own family. I say this right now. He wants his own family. And now, because of this, because of what's going on, Don doesn't know if he can trust him or should he hammer his head into the pavement. He does not know. Stacks should have just walked away. He didn't even need to run. He could have walked away, then stared at Crucifino, going to the Don, and then walks. And that would have set up the next part of the story. But we didn't get that. He's just standing there staring. I'm like, why? Why? That was a loss. That's a big mistake right there. I'm moving on. All right. Let's get to what we did see on the show. We saw Psycho Clown, who was on the AAA Worlds Collide. And we saw Octagon Jr., who is still a supposedly signed talent to AAA, which is not real anymore. But he's also a signed talent to TNA, which he is in the Aztec Warriors. It's a very interesting question. How long are they going to keep this up? How long? Is he going to be working AAA, NXT, and TNA? How long is he going to keep rotating? Because he's now seen on NXT. He was on AAA's Worlds Collide. And he's going to possibly still work with TNA. How long is this going to last before something has to stop? That's going to be the question. Next, the vid pack of Mariah May, who is now known as Blake. I should have realized they wouldn't go there with Monroe. I should have realized they were going to go Monroe. I wish she had been called Blake Mansfield. Now, mind you, she ain't no Jane Mansfield. She ain't. She ain't no Jane Mansfield. Let's make it clear. Look, I've seen Marilyn Monroe pictures. I've seen Marilyn Monroe movies. Marilyn was like this and like this and like that. She was a curvy girl. And she was gorgeous to a fault. But if you see Jane Mansfield versus Marilyn, Jane was... boom. That's the truth. She had big ones and whoop. And I'm like, maybe if they wanted to play around, they would do Mansfield instead of, well, maybe they got permission to do Monroe. Because, or there's no problem. I don't know. Maybe there might have been some type of legal thing where they could not use the Monroe name. And they use, well, not Monroe, Mansfield. Not Monroe. Mansfield name. So they went to Monroe, which is a name anybody can use. But you know it's iconic. You know it's going to be Marilyn Monroe's name. That's the reason why they use it as a last name. That's the way it is. Did I like the vid pack? It was old school, early 1990s vid pack. That's what that was, guys. If you think it wasn't, it was. That is how they used to do it back in the late 80s, early 90s. That type of vid pack. Where she was in the bathtub with the bubbly. She was told by the screen, you need to get up. And there was a narrator, and you can hear saying how special she was. They even had a cartoon drawn of her that looked like it was animated, like Japanese animated almost. Well, more like, not anime, more like almost Disney-ish. That's how it is. Almost a Disney kind of caricature. That they used to use for Bewitched, and they also did with I Love Lucy. At one point, was it I Love Lucy or Lucille Ball show? They had a animated character of her, but it looked kind of like it was created by someone from Disney. That's the way it looked. It's not animated, the one that is for Blake. It isn't. But it was very well done. Now the question is, how is she going to act when she debuts or when she first does her first promo. It's going to be very interesting. Let's see what else. What do I want to say about... I'm going to say this. For next week, we're going to get a 6-man tag. I want to get this done now. We're going to have Elias with... do I really believe about Moore and Briggs with Elias? I don't know. Then seeing Trick, who did have a nice vid pack. Well, not vid pack. Nice interview, not a vid pack. And we're going to get him working with First Class. It makes perfect sense. First Class are heels. He's a heel. Having him there. Kind of wish he hadn't said light-skinned brothers. Why he had to say, he could have said the brothers. Why you got to say light-skinned brothers? I never understand that. And it's kind of stupid. For me personally, I can understand why other people do it. For me personally, I never do that. If you're black, I just say, you're brother. That's what you are. You don't have to say you're light-skinned. It's kind of silly for me, personally. Just, sorry. But I don't know how I feel about the match. Particularly it's being done next week instead of giving about a week or two to build. I would like to see them build up into it. Let Elias talk with Moore and Briggs a little bit. 2 weeks of build would be nice. The same thing with First Class. Unless you watch TNA and they probably do something over there, you only watch NXT, you're not going to know any context of how close they get and how they're going to be working together. I just wish they had more time to build. And I just don't feel it. Finally, if I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry. Jaster Troy from LFG, who is one of the winners, versus Femi, who he put through a car window in the very opening show. As you see Femi walking, he gets attacked, he gets grabbed, and he gets thrown through the damn window. Not the side window, the front glass window. Cracks it, all done. And then we're finding out, it's supposed to be a match. Don't know if it's going to happen. But at the end, it does happen. And we get to see Joster Troy and how well he can actually do a match. He did pretty well. He's still very new in the company. Very new in wrestling. Let's make it very clear. I think he's had it, 6 months to about maybe a year. I didn't watch LFG. I didn't watch more than 2 or 3 episodes because it's very hard to watch. I think I saw episode 2. I wasn't able to see episode 1. Then I saw episode 3, and I think I saw part of episode 4. So I saw some of it. So it was interesting to watch. But why did they rush this? Why did they rush this? I do not understand why they did this. And then worse yet, what did we get at the very ending? Less than 2 or 3 minutes left. We get Femi, who gets thrown all over the place, that to the point where they had to use the release, if you don't know, because you might not know, to make the turnbuckles come off. There's a quick release behind all of them. They're actually wired up, and anytime they really want it, they can do a quick release, and the turnbuckle can just pop clean off. I know that's not something you should be doing. It should be kayfabe, but I think in this case, there has to be some context. Because they tried to make it so apparent that Femi is fucked up. And Joster Troy did a good number on him. But by the time that Femi got back at him, and the first of the 2 spine busters, I'm like, okay, it's over. And you could give Femi a minute or 2 more of praise and stuff, which is fine. No. Legitimately, for some stupid reason, the ref decided that when Joster Troy's shoulders are pinned, he's thinking, okay, 1, 2, nope. And he puts his arm under Joster's arm, his left arm. And legitimately, his arm was not off the damn mat. He tried it. He was, after being put through the guard, the protective guardrail that is heavily padded, that's near the fans, I think he was pretty much done at that point. He was already tanked heavily by the time it was near the end. Look, Troy is very impressive, but he doesn't have great stamina yet. It looks like he has to have a lot of work done to get better stamina, because by the time it was over, after doing all that work and he could barely run the ropes, he was exhausted. He couldn't lift his arm, even though you couldn't tell 100% where Femi arm was in the way. I could see it if you slow-mo it, because guess what? I can do a replay of it, and I had done the replay of it, and I watched it 3 times to see if his arm was off the mat. When you could see Ubafemi moved his arm, he's shoving his arm right under that. There's no way he did that, because he could not see it. Ubafemi's arm was in the way. It was his own left arm. That was stupid. Why did they extend it by an extra 10 to 15 seconds? There was no point in it. The match was done. There was no reason other than he had to get the spot in. So he had to do 2 spine busters to make it look right. Instead of just doing one, you could have finished. Umafemi could have got up, and you could still have him spend an extra 45 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds before the end of the show. That was just plain ass stupid. Now, could have HBK made that decision, told the ref to count it and let it keep going? Probably. He probably told the ref 2 spine busters. That was probably what they decided to do. But it was stupid. They could have done 1 spine buster. It would have been done. They were near the end of the show. An extra minute or 45 seconds would not hurt the match if it was short. But this is just me. I'm going to tell you this. It was still a good show. Several things was done. Knowing that several storylines have been set in motion, a couple of people are going to be doing something in. Then we get 2 weird situations. And I know I didn't say anything about JC James after the match with Red, and that there's going to be 4 matches that are going to culminate into Evolution. There'll be a Fatal 4-Way Evolution. What is it, a Fatal 4-Way to Evolution? Or is it going to be a Fatal 4-Way before Evolution, and then whoever wins is going to be dealing with JC James? I know I didn't say it. The reason I didn't want to say it, but I have to say it just in case someone thinks I forgot. 1, I didn't forget. 2, sometimes I do. 2, I want to see how they're going to develop these women, because they can't just have matches. They got to let these women talk. So essentially, we did have a decently good show, but 2 matches with the stories with them didn't make much sense. That's just me. You guys, come below. Peace.